whoa, what up? How old was I when I started throwing a curveball? I said this in a splitter grip video. I mean, there's context to this. I don't want to ramble. My father was a big leaguer. I was very grateful, very fortunate to be able, as I was growing up, to kind of, understand, so to speak, the right ways and the wrong ways to go about development. And it's like a delayed gratification thing, because I remember being 12 years old the last year that I was in Little League. And granted, I was 6 foot tall, like threw hard. No one really hit me. Small town. But I remember being 12 years old and making like regional all-stars and TOCs was what we called it. And there was like kids from, different parts of the state that would come in, and they were like throwing these curveballs, and we were like, whoa, man, that's crazy. What is that? And I remember like asking Pops, like, okay, well, like I want to start throwing a curveball. And he was under the impression at that particular time, and I think everyone is that the curveballs were bad. You wanted to kind of wait to throw those curveballs until your body, arm, elbow, shoulder, was able to be resilient with curveballs, because they, the notion was that they were really tough on the elbow. So to answer the question, it wasn't until I was like 14, 15 that I would say I started throwing a curveball. Now, Pops caught Clemens. He thought his splitter was like the grossest / hardest pitch to hit in the world. So that's the pitch he taught me when I was 12. And that's the pitch when I became, 13, 14, playing on the bigger fields. Another sidebar, I was really fortunate to have an older brother, or am fortunate to have an older brother, but back then he was 3 years older. And we would play the 18U, travel ball, wood bat tournaments and stuff. So when he was like 16, I was 13, 17, I was 14, 18, I was 15. So when I was 13, 14, 15, I was facing like 18-year-olds. And that's when I really understood the importance of like, okay, I can't just, throw a fastball and get away with it. But I needed to change speeds, locate, maybe throw multiple pitches. And I would say around 14 was when I started throwing the curveball. And then I would say 15 was when I became very, I don't like talking about myself, but I became decent at the ability to throw multiple pitches, multiple pitches for strikes. That was a big thing when I was like 16, 17, 18 years old, going through the scouting process, was that, I showed that I had ability to command a 4-seam, 2-seam, curveball, cutter, splitter. And I had 5 pitches coming into the draft that were fairly good. But it was a delayed gratification process, because at 11, 12 years old, I wasn't so much fixated on like getting. I was, because you want to win, but it wasn't so much a fixation on like, oh, I really want to be the best 12-year-old player. It was like I wanted to be the best big leaguer, and Pops did a really good job of like making me look at the big picture at that time, because it's hard to do, right? Like when you're that age. Because I get asked all the time, like, hey, when's the right age to start throwing this? And when's the right age to start, practicing that or whatever? And I just really would encourage to look at, like, delaying that gratification, looking at the big picture. What is the goal? If your goal is to get, the little league hitters out, high school hitters out, then, yeah, dude, like, let's freaking go. But if you want to play D1, college baseball, professional baseball, might be a little bit of a different approach. And I think look at where we're going with the amount of information that we have nowadays. That was a lot different than when I was growing up. Like I said, when I was growing up, it was like curveballs are bad for your elbow. Sliders, don't throw them. And now it's like they're saying, curveballs are actually not as bad on your elbow, and splitters are terrible because there's no fingers behind the ball. And that was the first pitch that I learned how to throw. So I'm not saying my way is a right way. It's not the wrong way. It's just, I think it's, being intentional with how that process goes about. But that's my kind of journey with throwing those breaking pitches. What age? Like I said, 14, 15 was when I started really diving into that realm. But hopefully that makes sense, and maybe you can take some from it, maybe not. I would encourage you guys to check out my pitch grip video breakdown tutorial things, therobbyroshow.com/pitch-grips, because there's a lot of videos in there that I actually do talk about, like, when did I start throwing it, the grip that I started throwing it with, and a little bit more context to that. So hopefully that helps. Much love. See ya.